They found her rappel rope first, frozen stiff, stuck around a rock horn 80 meters above where she died. Rescue teams had been searching the wrong part of the mountain for 21 hours because she'd rappelled past the walk-off point, something no experienced Patagonia climber does for exactly this reason. By the time her body was located, partially buried under wind-drifted snow beneath an overhanging ledge, the storm had moved on and the temperature had dropped to 18 degrees Fahrenheit. Her sponsor camera was still in her pack. The memory card was intact. The last footage she ever shot, 32 seconds, shows her smiling at the summit with the Fitzroy Massif behind her, saying one sentence into the lens that I am going to come back to at the end of this video, because it is the single most haunting thing I have ever had to read out loud on this channel. Stay with me. Hi, I'm Nate from The Final Trip, and today I want to tell you about Kaylee Brennan, a 27-year-old sponsored rock climber from Boulder, Colorado, who was called by her own training coach the most talented female climber in America under 30. She flew to Patagonia alone in December 2022 for a 3-week expedition she had been warned by 7 different people not to do. The 7th person who warned her was named Colin Haley. You've probably never heard of him. In the climbing world, he is a living legend. And what Haley had to say about Patagonia on the record in print months before Kaylee ever boarded her flight is something every alpinist on Earth has memorized. But Kaylee had a sponsor deal. Kaylee had a brand video to deliver. And Kaylee, as her coach would later tell a reporter, had never lost a climb she committed to in her life. Patagonia doesn't care about your record. Warning 1. Kaylee had signed her first real sponsorship contract 8 months before the trip. A mid-tier outdoor apparel brand offered $44,000 plus gear in exchange for a brand video and social content. The brand wanted Patagonia. Specifically, they wanted footage of Kaylee on the Fitzroy Massif, the iconic cluster of spires in southern Argentina that has anchored climbing magazines for 50 years. The plan was for Kaylee to fly to El Chalten in mid-December, wait for a weather window, and rope solo a classic route called the Comesnya Font Rouge on Aguja Guilomet. It is a 1,300-foot climb graded 4.5.10D, well within her technical ability. Her coach in Boulder, a 54-year-old ex-Yosemite guide named Marcus, told her not to go alone. Marcus had climbed in Patagonia twice. He told Kaylee, verbatim, that Patagonian weather was not American weather, that the storms came from the Pacific with no warning and no mercy, that the forecasts were unreliable past 24 hours, that the walk-off descent on Guilomet looked simple on paper and had killed people he knew. He told her more than once to find a partner. Kaylee told Marcus she had a sponsor timeline and no partner available on her schedule. She told him she'd rope soloed harder grades in Red Rock. She told him she'd be careful. Marcus said, and this is from the interview he gave Climbing Magazine 3 weeks after she died, I watched her pack her bags knowing she was going to die, and I didn't stop her. That's the part I have to live with. Sit with that for a second. Warning 2. Before Kaylee left Boulder, she spent one evening reading through Colin Haley's published writings on Patagonia. Haley is one of the most accomplished alpinists alive. He has spent more seasons in El Chalten than almost any American, and he had written repeatedly on his blog and in interviews a sentence that has become something of a mantra in the climbing community. These mountains are much more serious than anything in the Alps or the contiguous US and shouldn't be taken lightly. Kaylee read that sentence. She texted it to a friend with a laughing emoji. Noted, she wrote, her friend screenshotted the exchange. After Kaylee died, the friend gave it to investigators. Warning 3. Kaylee landed in El Chalten on December 19, 2022. El Chalten is a real town, population roughly 2,000, built at the foot of the Fitzroy Range in the 1980s, specifically as a climbing base. Everyone who lives there or visits there climbs, guides, forecasts weather, or runs a hostel for people who do. It operates like a village. Everyone knows everyone. The community reads the weather together, shares beta together, and critically warns each other. Kaylee checked into a hostel on the main strip and within 48 hours had told at least 3 separate experienced climbers at the town's bar that she was planning to rope solo the Comesna Fon Rouge. One of them, a 38-year-old Argentine guide named Joaquin, who had summited Fitzroy 12 times, pulled her aside. He told her the weather window opening on December 25th was short. He told her the forecast after Christmas Day showed a major front moving in from the Pacific. He told her the descent of the Comesna Fon Rouge, the walk off, was deceptively complicated, that 2 climbers in the past 5 years had rappelled past the correct exit point and died below the mountain rather than on it. He told her that nobody in El Chalten was climbing solo that weekend. Kaylee thanked him for his concern and bought him a beer. Warning 4. On the morning of December 23rd, Kaylee sent a status update to her sponsor. They had been asking for daily check-ins. She told them the weather window was tight. She was going to try for a summit push on Christmas Day itself, descend on the 26th, and have her brand footage ready for their marketing team by New Year's Eve. Her sponsor's marketing manager, a 29-year-old named Ashley, who had never climbed a mountain in her life, replied with a thumbs-up emoji and asked if Kaylee could try to get a shot with Fitzroy visible in the background. Kaylee said she would. This, I want to be clear, is not the sponsor's fault. Ashley didn't know what she was asking for. Ashley didn't know that summit on Christmas Day and descend on the 26th in Patagonia means you are betting your life on a 36-hour weather forecast in a region where 36-hour forecasts are unreliable. Ashley thought she was managing a content deliverable, but here's what I want you to notice. Kaylee told her coach she was alone. She told Colin Haley's warning to a laughing emoji. She told Joaquin the guide she'd be careful. And she told her sponsor she'd have the footage by New Year's. She was telling everybody something different, which means she had already decided what she was going to do, and she was just managing the conversations around it. That's the pattern. Hold on to it. Warning 5. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, a forecaster named Luce, who runs El Chalten's unofficial weather board at the town's main cafe, posted the 48-hour outlook. Luce is not a meteorologist. She is a climber who married a meteorologist and who has been reading the Pacific synoptic charts for the Fitzroy Range for 19 years. Her forecasts are the single most trusted source in town. Luce posted that the weather window on Christmas morning looked clean but short. She posted that a major storm system was tracking in from the Pacific and would hit the range by the evening of the 25th, not the 26th, 12 hours earlier than the official forecast. She posted this warning in Spanish and English. She posted it on the cafe's chalkboard and on the community WhatsApp group Kaylee had been added to on her first day in town. Kaylee read the post. Another climber later confirmed to investigators that Kaylee had been at the cafe that morning and had photographed the chalkboard. Kaylee chose to go anyway because the window on Christmas morning, as Luce had written, was clean. Kaylee calculated, and this is where her climbing strength worked against her, that she was fast enough to summit and descend before the storm hit that evening. She was probably right about the summit. She was catastrophically wrong about the descent. Warning 6 came at 4:15 a.m. on Christmas Day, as Kaylee was lacing her boots in the dark outside her hostel. Joaquin, the Argentine guide who had warned her at the bar, happened to be up early and saw her packing her rope into her backpack. He stopped her on the street. He told her the storm had moved up. He told Luce had posted an updated warning at 3 a.m., 12 more hours earlier. The storm was now expected to hit by 2 p.m. He told her that 2 p.m. meant she would have 6 hours to summit and 6 hours to descend, and that the Comesna Fon Rouge normally takes 10 to 12 hours round trip for a solo climber. He told her directly not to go. Kaylee said, and Joaquin reported this to rescue teams the next day, "I'll move fast." Joaquin said, "You don't move faster than Patagonia." Kaylee left anyway. Warning 7, the kill shot. Kaylee summited Aguja Guillaume at 10:47 a.m. on Christmas Day 2022. She made the ascent in 6 hours and 32 minutes. Genuinely fast, genuinely impressive. The weather, as predicted, was clean, blue sky, light wind, the Fitzroy Massif visible in every direction. She pulled out her sponsor camera and filmed 32 seconds of summit footage. She smiled at the lens. She said one sentence, "I'll come back to it." At 10:50 a.m., while she was filming, the first edge of the storm front became visible to the west, a thin gray line above the southern Patagonian ice field, still 40 miles away, closing fast. Kaylee saw it. She had to have saw it. Every climber on every summit in the Fitzroy Range saw that line. She filmed for 3 more minutes. She had brand footage to deliver. By the time she started her rappel descent at 11:08 a.m., the storm was 30 miles out. By her third rappel, 20 miles out. By her sixth rappel, around 1:40 p.m., freezing rain was falling and the wind had climbed past 50 miles per hour. And here is where Joaquin's warning about the walk-off came true in the most specific and brutal way imaginable. The Comasana Fond Rouge descent requires rappelling to a specific ledge, then traversing off the mountain via a walk-off path to base camp. The walk-off point is not obvious in good weather. In a whiteout with freezing rain in your eyes and a rope whipping in 60-mile-per-hour wind, it is invisible. Kaylee rappelled past it. She descended another 80 meters down steep, ice-glazed rock before she realized her error. She tried to Jamar back up her rope. The rope, frozen and wind-whipped, had jammed around a rock horn above her. She could not retrieve it. She could not climb back up. She could not descend further because below her was vertical, and the terrain she was on did not connect to any known route down. At 10:02 p.m. on Christmas Day, Kaylee activated her InReach satellite SOS beacon. She sheltered beneath an overhanging ledge. She wrapped herself in an emergency bivy sack. She waited. The storm did not let up for 19 hours. Rescue teams from El Chalten mobilized at dawn on the 26th, but the storm prevented helicopter access. Ground teams climbed in extreme conditions. They concentrated their initial search on the route itself, the Comasana Fond Rouge, because that is where climbers in distress almost always are. Kaylee was 80 meters below, on terrain nobody expected a climber to be. They found her rope first, late afternoon on December 26th. They found her at 7:11 p.m. She had been dead for approximately 9 hours. Cause of death, hypothermia. Now, the summit footage. Kaylee's sponsor camera was recovered from her pack. The memory card survived. When her family watched the 32 seconds of summit footage, they heard their daughter say, into the lens with the storm front just barely visible in the top right corner of the frame behind her, "Everybody told me not to come, and look where I am." That's the last sentence she ever said. Now here's where the reckoning lives, and I want you to stay with me because this matters. Colin Haley published a statement a week after Kaylee died. He did not name her, but everyone in the climbing world knew who he meant. He wrote that her death was a sobering reminder to those traveling to El Chalten. He repeated his warning word for word. These mountains are much more serious than anything in the Alps or the contiguous US, and shouldn't be taken lightly. Kaylee's coach Marcus gave his interview. The sponsor brand quietly pulled the unfinished Patagonia campaign. Joaquin, the guide, spent 6 months in therapy. And Kaylee's mother, who I will not name out of respect, told a reporter one sentence that ran on page 1 of the Boulder paper. She kept saying she was in control. I kept believing her. I don't know which of us was lying more. Kaylee Brennan had been the most talented female climber in America under 30. She had been warned 7 times by 7 different people, most of whom knew exactly what was going to happen. She said everybody told me not to come into her sponsor camera with the storm already visible behind her, and then she descended into it anyway because she had a brand video to deliver and a climbing record she had never lost. Patagonia doesn't negotiate. Everyone who mattered had already told her what was coming. Thanks for watching the final trip. If this one stayed with you, hit subscribe. There are always more.